Hello, my name is NAHOMIE ACELIN. I'm a mother of three wonderful boys. As we're celebrating or acknowledging Sickle Cell Awareness Month, I could tell you as a mother of two wonderful boys who have been diagnosed with sickle cell disease, I could tell you that there are some challenges that we go through as a family due to sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disease. We've realized through the years now in dealing with that disease that you have to take it one day at a time. You have to take it one day at a time because yesterday might not look as the same as today. The disease is a disease that comes without your permission. It comes without your kind of comes into your life, sickness or crisis or anything could come out of nowhere. And you have to be prepared as a parent to face that challenge, even though you may not have been preparing for it. So I can give you an example. We're planning to go on a vacation and out of nowhere, one of our sons gets a fever, and then that means that's like 4 days at the hospital. So now we have to adjust and pivot and change our vacation plan. So in the beginning, we kind of felt like the disease was controlling us, controlling our livelihood or controlling our lifestyle. But then after time, we realized that having to pivot and change was not necessarily controlling us anymore. Is because now we were prepared for the changes that would come. I think as a parent of children with sickle cell disease, I think you have to be prepared for multiple scenarios. You have to be prepared if it's a crisis, if it's a fever, if it's back pain, chest pain. You just have to be prepared and have a plan set up in case things changes. And that's what we had to learn to do as a family. The great thing about having to deal with the sickness is now we are at a place in our lives where we're able as a family to accept the disease, but not making it as our identity. And that is very important. Yes, we have sickle cell disease in our home. Our children has been diagnosed with that disease, but we still want them to live a life that is fulfilled, a life that is full of joy and happiness. And we never put the limitation of that disease upon the kids. If the kids, they want to do this, they want to do that, we look at maybe the potential issues that might happen, but we never say no. We always try. Because I remember in the beginning, when people were kind of talking to us about sickle cell, they would tell us, they should not learn how to swim or they should never be in the water. And then we realized, and we started going as what people were saying. So we never put our children in water. We never put them in the pool. But then what we realized is that we started doing research, looking at different swimsuits for the kids. And then now they're able to go into the water because now we've prepared and did some research. But if I had kept with what other people were saying, then I would have never really gave them the opportunity to learn how to swim or to get into the water. I think as parents, yes, especially if you're having a newborn and you have a newborn and you hear the diagnosis of sickle cell, of course, get all of the information you need, but as your child grows, how my child deals with the disease can be completely different as to how somebody else is dealing with the disease. So you have to adjust your lifestyle, adjust everything according to your child. And having two children with sickle cell, they all deal with the disease differently. So we've learned now to look at the different triggers, to look at the different environments around our children and see what triggers one might not necessarily trigger the other one. So there's a lot of education, there's a lot of trial and error, there's a lot of kind of trying to predict some of the stuff as a parent. But I'm telling you though, we're learning to be prepared for different scenarios, and there's some scenarios that comes and we're just not prepared for it, but we know that the next time this happens, or because this was a trigger, then we know for next time how we're going to deal with it. I think it's a matter of being open to what's happening and adjust and pivot accordingly without letting it break your heart. Because if you always stand and stay in the heartbreak of the disease or the sadness of the disease, you're never going to live your life. And that your children are going to see the disease as a handicap and not letting them and them allowing them to be scared to live a life, or to live a life that is fulfilled. And I think as parents of children with sickle cell, we have to teach them to live in spite of that disease, to live in spite of what they're going through, and giving them the tools for them to live a life that is fulfilled, but to live a life where they love themselves. Because when things change in their situation and you have to pivot, because as parents we're pivoting for the child as well, it's pivoting to, or it brings a change to their lives. You never want to make the disease or create an environment in your home that it's so negative towards the disease, because they will attach the disease to themselves, right? They will see themselves as the disease. But if you're able to separate it and be able to build the individual, build the child in spite of the disease, what you're building, it's a child that is resilient in spite of what they're going through. And this is what we're learning as parents, to really kind of like I said, is to build their identity outside of it, And what I love about, when you do different research, you see that there's athletes who are at the height of their career and they are dealing with sickle cell disease. You have people in different fields that are doing great things in spite of the disease. And I've actually done a PowerPoint to my oldest, of different people who are dealing with sickle cell or who have sickle cell or who end up doing some great things in their life. I think as parents, we have to build their self-esteem. We have to teach them how to love themselves. They're not different, and teach them that they're not different than other children. Everyone is dealing with something. And that's the thing. It's really kind of teaching them that everyone is dealing with something, that they're not unique to anything. They're not unique, or in a sense that, there are the problem, but it's to telling them everybody deals with something, but you just have to find your identity outside of that and be able to live a life that is acceptable and then live a life that is fulfilled. And that's what I'm learning as a parent, as a caregiver, and this is what I'm teaching to my children and to my boys. I think there's beauty in resilience, and to see your children strive, fight for their life, though it's tragic sometimes, or it's difficult to see, but sometimes it's beautiful when you see your child striving in spite of, fighting in spite of, loving in spite of, caring in spite of. And I think as a society, and especially our community who are dealing with that disease, I think we should be proud of ourselves that we are building strong families, strong children, beautiful children, and that we're going to continue to fight for a better life for our children. So as we acknowledge the Sickle Cell Disease Month, to everyone and every parent who is dealing with that disease or who's dealing with children fighting that disease, you are strong, you are beautiful, and continue to fight, and eventually we're going to see the win. Have a wonderful month.